possible to express every number? If it is possible to express every number on a given base, and the base there is going to be what? The lowest or the minimum base which we have here. Now the minimum base we have here is 5. Now, is it possible to express 25 as the base? Having the base of 5. Yes, it's possible to express this one because 5 raised to the power 2 will give what? 20. Will give 25. But what about this last number here, 20? Is it possible to express this number in index form in such a way that it has a base of 5? We can see it is not possible. For one to be able to know whether it is possible or not is to write 20 like this. We subject it to rulings like this. We want to divide until the final result is 1. If it's a number that we can express as the base of 5, it is fine that we are able to divide it all through till the final result will be 1. So let us try. It is 5 plus 2 because our target is the minimum, the lowest base in this given question. So let us use 5. 5 in 20 gives 4. 5 in 20 gives 4. Can 5 put this in again for us to get the value of 1? We can see it is not possible. So that means this is a set of questions that cannot be what? By which everything cannot be expressed in the base of what? The smallest number. So there is other way of solving it. But the first thing we must consider is it possible for us to do it that way? Now that it's clear that it's not possible for us to do it that way, then that shows we are going to apply another approach. And the approach there is this is 25 raised to the power x. Let me express this one first. This 25 raised to the power x can also be written as 5 raised to the power 2 raised to the power x minus 5 raised to the power x minus 20 equal to 0. What we want to do here is, okay, I still have my 5 raised to the power 2x minus 5 raised to the power x minus 20 is equal to 0. So let's assume this is the initial thing we want to do. Since this is the set of number in which everything here cannot be expressed on the base of 5. So what we are going to do now is, it is still this 5 that's going to give to us the way out to solving this question. So what we want to do now is it possible for me? I want to break down this thing. The 5 raised to the power 2x, it has to be broken down into the smallest parts. And we can see that the power it has here, it is a combination of some things that gave right to this. So we want to take it back to its basis. And we can see the basis of 5 raised to the power 2x is 5 raised to the power x multiplied by 5 raised to the power x. Then minus, since this one is in its simplest form, so I'm going to write it as 5 raised to the power x minus 20 is equal to 0. So for me to be able to continue with this, one should look at this very well, and one will observe that what something is common to something is very common here. That thing that is very common is what 5 raised to the power x. So anything that is common like this, it can be given a name. So we can assume 5 raised to the power x to be what? A given variable. So we can assume it to be what? To be p. So in this case, this thing is not going to be what? To be written as p. This is to be written as p. This is to be written as p. But remember, this one is going to be written as it is here. So 5 raised to the power x here becomes p multiplied by p minus 20 is equal to 0. So p times p here gives p squared minus p minus 20 is equal to 0. I will look critically at this thing. So we are going to see that it's going to lead to another aspect of mathematics that we refer to as what? The quadratic equation. And the solution of quadratic equation is the one that always has the highest degree as what? 2. So solving this one has so many ways. There is factorization method, the general formula method, as well as the completing the square method. But we are going for the simpler of those methods, which is the factorization method. So in the case of factorization method, what we want to do is to pick the coefficient of this number we multiply by the last number here. So that is 1 multiplied by 20. That gives 20. So we now need factors of 20 that what? Give the value of, give the coefficient of this middle number. So the factors of 20, in short, factor simply means any two numbers that can cut a given number, or any two numbers that will multiply together, it gives what? It gives 20. So let's think of those two numbers that we can combine together to get 20. So I can say 10 times 2 is 20, 5 times 4 is 20. So this is the basic one. Then also I can say 20 times 1 is 20. Which of these three combinations here can produce the value of minus 1 for me? So the only one that can give that is this, depending on how I coin it. So in that case, I can call this minus 5, I call this plus 4. So it gives minus 1. So this one is not going to be applicable to all one to solve as well as this. So which means in the position of P here, minus 5 and plus 4 is going to represent it. So that becomes P squared minus 5P plus 4P minus 20 equal to 0. Equal to 0. So I'm now going to group it in two, like this. So P squared minus 5P plus 4P minus 20. So between P squared and minus 5P, we want to look for what is common. So we can see P is common to both P squared and 5P. So that common number is going to be outside. So I will now have to open the bracket. What do I have there left? P minus 5. And here plus between 4P and 20, what is common? So it can be done this way, 2 times 2 multiplied by P. Or I can call it 4 times P straight. Why 20 here means 4 times 5. So you can observe 4 is common. So that common number will be positioned outside, white bracket is going to be opened. So what I have left is P, then minus 5. I must ensure that while solving, the element we have inside this bracket is same as the element inside this bracket. Then it's equal to 0. So I now have P minus 5, that is the element, what is common to them? That is P minus 5 into the remaining things we have here. That is P plus 4, which is equal to 0. So I can now say that P minus 5 is 0 or P plus 4 is equal to 0. So when this equation is solved, P gives the value of 5 or P is equal to minus 4. But remember, we are asked to find the value of X in this question and not P. But P was only what we did in order to be able to have solution to this thing. So we now have to make reference back to the position whereby we introduce P into our solution, and that is what? So we are going to say that but 5 raised to the power x is equal to P. So which means 5 raised to the power x is equal to 5, or 5 raised to the power x is equal to minus 4. So when we look at this thing, it has a place in indices. So it means 5 raised to the power x can also be written as 5 raised to the power 1, or 5 raised to the power x is equal to. So from here, there is no further solution to this one. So we won't have to bother ourselves with this one again. So we just continue with it. And this gives, okay, this can cancel this. So x gives the value of y. Therefore, I can conclude that the value of my x is equal to